Hello, and welcome to the Auto Owner's Interactive Training Experience. This software is going to teach you about materials commonly used in home construction. When you boot up the software, the first thing you will see is the title screen, which gives you three options. The user can quit the game, access the settings, which allows you to alter the controller and volume configuration, and start the game. At this point, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the game. So conventionally, training of associates is done through training materials and visits to work sites. However, these have some caveats. Reading information from training materials is not very immersive, and traveling to work sites can be logistically challenging. This software aims to be the best of both worlds, convenient and immersive. The first thing the user sees when entering the first section is a tutorial. This shows them how to interact with the environment, how to look around, and how to navigate using the teleportation anchors on the floor. A huge goal of this project is accessibility. We want to make sure that any associate of any skill level can interact with the software effectively. Now that the tutorial is complete, we will look up at the objective system, which will tell us what we need to do at any given point. And right now, it tells us to make our way into the study. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that we are in the study, we will have a look at the objective system once more, and we can see that it wants us to find the glossary. So let's go ahead and do that. It looks like it's on the table right over there. Now that we have found the glossary, we can now see what items need to be found in each room. At the very top, you can select which room you wish to look at. In the left-hand column, it shows the name of each item in the room that you need to find. If you select on an item, you can see an in-game render of what this object looks like, as well as a description about the properties of this object. So, now that we have the glossary, we're going to go ahead and start looking for objects in this room. Objects that can be found get highlighted in blue, so it's easy to see what needs to be found. The primary objective of the software is to show associates what materials are used in home construction, as well as where these materials are commonly placed in a home. This is to emulate the experience of walking through a house and identifying materials and understanding where they need to be. So now that we've found some objects, let's go ahead and open the glossary once more. As we can see, all the objects that have been found are now marked with a check mark, and the in-game renders has been replaced with an image of its real-life counterpart. Again, the idea is to form a relation between these virtual objects in this training simulation and the objects that exist in real life. It looks like we're missing the paint can. So let's go ahead and use a hint. This software has a hint system built in. At any time, the user can press a button on their controller, and the objects that still need to be found will highlight in a very obvious way. So now that we know where the paint is, let's go ahead and collect it. Now that we've found all the items, it's time to move on to the second floor. On the table in the hallway, you will find a key, which will unlock the door to the second floor. We are now on the second floor. As you can see, it is barren and incomplete. The primary objective of this section is to use the materials gathered on the first floor to complete this section. The first thing that the user sees upon entering is a tutorial, and this explains some of the new mechanics introduced in this section. It shows them how to bring materials from the glossary and how to place them in the correct positions. Once the user has learnt everything, we will now give this a shot by bringing in some carpet from the glossary and placing it on the floor. And as you can see, we are able to correctly place it where it needs to go. So, the primary goal of this floor is to challenge the information learned on floor 1. On the first floor, you were shown these materials and their positions. This floor is hoping to challenge that information and test to see if you understand where these materials need to go. So now let's go ahead and move into the bathroom. And when we're in here, we're going to try to place down some wallpaper on the wall. As you can see, this failed. The software has told us that we are trying to place wallpaper before we have placed drywall. So we will go ahead and bring drywall into the scene, place it down, and now we can correctly place the wallpaper. So not only is the second floor trying to quiz you on the positioning of these materials, it's also trying to quiz you on the place sequence of these materials. Homes are constructed in a very particular way. Materials have a specific order of installation. Thus, it is very important for auto owners to not only know where these materials go, but also to understand the correct order that these materials need to be installed. Once the materials in a room have been all correctly placed, a check mark will appear, letting the user know that they no longer have any more materials of that type to place down.